Here's a scenario for you. Your teenage son wants to start smoking. What do you tell him? Most parents have their answer ready before you even finish the question. But Nick Naylor, his response is,
if he really wants a cigarette, I'll buy him his first pack.
Nick is Big Tobacco's golden boy, their PR wizard. Every time the industry faces a crisis, he makes it disappear. When the media comes after them, he announces a $50 million public awareness campaign. Cameras flash. Headlines praise them. Everyone's impressed. Then he walks into another room and drops serious cash to get Brad Pitt smoking on camera. The kicker? If Pitt blows smoke rings, we'll tack on another $5 million. Sounds contradictory, right? That's because you're not seeing what people at the top see. This is how the game actually works. Thank You for Smoking isn't just a movie. It's a masterclass in persuasion, manipulation, and how money can literally reshape what people believe is true. Once you understand this, you'll see opportunities most people can't even imagine exist. The movie opens with Nick on a live talk show. Sitting next to him, the president of an anti-teen smoking coalition, the head of the American Lung Association, a government health official, and a teenage boy dying of cancer. Each guest gets introduced to warm applause, then Nick walks out, vice president of the Academy of Tobacco Studies, and the entire audience boos him. Fair enough. Smoking kills nearly 10 million people a year, and that number keeps climbing. But here's the thing. Tobacco is completely legal. It's also one of the most profitable industries on the planet. The controversy never stops. And Nick's entire job is damage control. Every time the industry gets dragged through the mud, he uses surgical precision in debate to shift blame elsewhere. If smoking rates drop, he's failed. Does he know cigarettes are harmful? Of course he does. But watch what he does next. He looks directly at that dying teenager. His voice drops. Genuine sympathy crosses his face, and he says, "We want him healthy more than anyone else in this room." Here's his logic. Our customers need to stay alive to keep buying our product. We need him healthy. But these activist groups, their entire funding model depends on people dying. The worse the death toll, the bigger their budget. The more tragic the stories, the more money they get. So tell me, who really wants this kid to die? Then, before anyone can process that, he announces, "We're launching a $50 million campaign aimed at preventing teen smoking, because nothing matters more than the next generation." The audience shifts. Some people actually start clapping for a tobacco company. Nick just turned the entire room around with a few sentences. He didn't just defuse the crisis. He made Big Tobacco look like the responsible ones. Nick's not just good with words, though. He's built an empire around them. His company employs world-class scientists who've spent decades researching the link between nicotine and lung cancer. Their conclusion after all these years? No definitive proof of a direct connection. They've also got a roster of professors, complete with mansions and luxury cars, whose sole job is debating anyone who speaks out against tobacco. This is Nick's armor. Every claim he makes is backed by data. Every data point has an expert behind it. You can question the data all you want, but most people won't dare question authority. And that's the genius of high-level persuasion. Every individual statement is technically true, but string them together, they form a beautiful, complete lie. Something feels off, but you can't quite put your finger on what's wrong. Nick brings this same energy to his personal life. When his son's school invites parents to talk about their careers, Nick tells the kids he's a lobbyist for cigarettes. One kid immediately raises his hand. His mom told him smoking is dangerous. Nick doesn't miss a beat.
Is your mommy a doctor?
No.
A scientific researcher of some kind?
No.
Well, she doesn't exactly sound like a credible expert now, does she?
The kid goes silent. Every other kid in the room is watching. Then Nick drives it home.
If your parents told you that chocolate was dangerous, would you just take their word for it? No. Exactly. So perhaps instead of acting like sheep when it comes to cigarettes, you should find out for yourself.
He tells them that within legal boundaries, even if you're doing something the entire world opposes, you should fight for your position, because that's how society moves forward. And here's the trick. When you can't prove your point, just pivot to something absolutely correct that no one can argue against. People forget the original question and start agreeing with you instead. The teacher cuts him off immediately. Too late, the damage is done. That night, his son's homework assignment is, "Why is the American government the best government in the world?" Nick stops him mid-sentence.
Your teacher crafted that question?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, I'll look past the obvious problems in syntax for a moment. I'll focus more on the core of the question. I mean, A, does America have the best government in the world? And B, what constitutes a best government? Is it crime? Is it poverty? Literacy? In America, definitely not best. Perhaps not even better than most. We do have a very entertaining government. I mean,
Dad.
While Nick is teaching his son to push back on loaded questions, the rest of the country is busy swallowing a simple one. News breaks that a former Marlboro man, the cowboy face of cigarettes for an entire generation, is dying of lung cancer and about to sue the company. Cigarette sales start to dip. For Big Tobacco, this isn't just bad PR. It's an existential threat. Nick doesn't panic. Instead, he pulls out the history books. Between 1910 and 1930, American cigarette sales exploded from 10 billion to 130 billion. What happened? Three things: war, famine, and the rise of talking pictures, especially movies where stars smoked on screen. Many became iconic moments still imitated today. That's what drove smoking rates through the roof. Nick's solution? Do it again. Get the biggest movie star alive to smoke on camera. He tracks down Brad Pitt's agent, asks if he's worried about the health controversy of promoting cigarettes. The agent barely blinks.
I'm not a doctor. I'm a facilitator. I bring creative people together. Whatever information there is exists. It's out there. People will decide for themselves, and should. It's not my role to decide for them. It'd be morally presumptuous.
Nick is genuinely surprised. This agent's worldview doesn't just expand his perspective. It actually alleviates his guilt. Deal made. $20 million later, Brad Pitt blows a perfect smoke ring on screen. That single moment helps recover tobacco sales. Crisis averted. But then another problem surfaces. That former Marlboro man isn't just refusing to renew his contract. He's trashing the company in every media outlet that'll listen. Nick shows up at his door with $5 million in cash, dumps it on the floor.
What am I gonna do with it?
You're gonna donate it. Yeah, start the Lauren Lutz Cancer Foundation. You're gonna have a ranch and a fair and a 5K.
Wait a minute. What about my family?
Lauren, you can't keep the money.
Why the hell not?
What, I mean, denounce us and then keep the blood money?
Predictably, the cowboy who was so vocal about justice chooses the money, shuts up completely, no lawsuit. Nick's son witnesses this whole transaction, completely confused about whether what his dad just did was right or wrong. Nick explains,
Let's say you became a lawyer, right? And you were asked to defend a murderer. Worse than that, a child murderer. Now, the law states that every person deserves a fair trial. Would you defend him?
I don't know. I guess every person deserves a fair defense.
Yeah, well, so do multinational corporations.
after several flawless PR victories, Nick becomes a media darling. The senator who proposed putting skull and crossbones on cigarette packs smells opportunity. He invites Nick to a televised debate, a chance to ride Nick's publicity wave straight to more votes. But he's seriously underestimating Nick. The debate starts. The senator immediately calls the tobacco industry hypocrites. Nick actually laughs. Have you considered that over a century ago, America's founding fathers were major tobacco farmers? Are they hypocrites too? The senator freezes. If he says yes, he's basically calling the foundation of American government hypocritical. Checkmate. This broadcast makes Nick a household name. A newspaper sends a gorgeous reporter to interview him. Nick, divorced, available, is immediately attracted. They talk industry, then personal life. He brings her back to his place. They talk all night. Big mistake. Turns out her weapon is more effective than debate, seduction. The old saying's right, lust makes fools of us all. She gets him to reveal industry secrets that should never see daylight. Days later, anti-smoking extremists kidnap Nick and cover him head to toe in nicotine patches. He barely survives. After recovering, Nick pivots brilliantly. He does interviews positioning himself as the victim, just an innocent employee caught in the crossfire. His boss is thrilled. For the first time in decades, the public is actually sympathizing with the tobacco company. His boss tells him to stay in the hospital, milk the victim angle, hit every show possible. But during his hospital stay, that reporter's article drops. Every dirty secret exposed. Nick's reputation implodes instantly. The company throws him under the bus to save themselves, publicly announces he's fired, claims his contract expired anyway. But Nick's been through every scenario imaginable. He calls an immediate press conference, doesn't mention PR tactics at all. Just talks about how he fell in love with that reporter, how he trusted her, how he told her everything. He refuses to name her, to protect her privacy, says his mistake dragged down the company. His colleagues, even his friends, that's what he regrets most. He's taking full responsibility, protecting everyone around him. The moment this airs, the reporter is finished. Everyone knows she used seduction to get her story. Readers lose all respect for her. Even the accuracy of her reporting gets questioned. And Nick? He's now the stand-up guy who got his heart broken and still protected the woman who betrayed him. He not only survives, he gets rehired with even more trust than before. Shortly after that senator's hearing begins, Nick firmly opposes the skull and crossbones warning. If cigarettes need a skull, what about cars? Car crashes kill a ridiculous number of people every year. Should we put a skull on every Honda? What about cheese? Heart disease is still the #1 killer. Should cheddar come with a warning label? Some senator tries to argue, the warning's for kids. That's called education, Nick fires back. It doesn't come from a warning label. It comes from parents, from teachers. So kids can grow up and make their own choices. Then the senator goes for the kill. So when your son turns 18, you'll smoke with him? Nick doesn't hesitate. If he really wants a cigarette, I'll buy him his first pack. He wins the debate, but he knows he just lied. And that bothers him more than anything else he's done. Because Nick might be comfortable twisting the truth for money, but the second it touches his son, his own line shows up. So he quits. Nick leaves Big Tobacco, but he doesn't stop being a lobbyist. Now he works for cell phone companies, teaching them how to dodge cancer questions.
Gentlemen, practice these words in front of the mirror. Although we are constantly exploring the subject, currently, there is no direct evidence that links cell phone usage to brain cancer.
The faces across the table change. The product on the billboard changes. The script doesn't. And that script isn't trapped inside TV studios or newspapers anymore. It's everywhere now, dripping out of headlines, ad copy, influencer rants, educational threads, and viral videos. We live in an era of information warfare. The moment you open your phone, you might be stepping into someone's carefully constructed trap. Some people want your attention. Some want your money. But the most dangerous ones? They want to control how you think. In peacetime, public opinion is the weapon, and everyone participating in online discourse becomes ammunition for that weapon. This harm doesn't just hit innocent bystanders. It gets weaponized by people with agendas, eventually becoming the chains that bind all of us. So ask yourself, when's the last time you actually thought critically about something? We scroll so much that we've stopped thinking. We let algorithms decide what we see, and we let strangers decide what we believe. We think we're informed, but really, we're just being fed. Wake up! Your level of awareness has already determined what kind of person you can become.